I'm Brandon.
And I'm Brandon.
And welcome back to Apollo City Comics, your anything and everything comic book podcast. Dude, it's so trippy. Okay, so we have like my glasses right now. I get like that blue light. I feel like a Marvel character with the reflections on my glasses right now. Hi. We're
What's going
doing
on?
something a little different today. I'm pretty hyped. So we are kind of gearing up for this long-awaited Daredevil director's cut commentary that we've been wanting to watch for a while. We both got our copies in the mail recently,
hmm
and I've heard the director's cut is like amazing, like compared to the original, which anything's fucking
It's
better than that.
I feel it's like anything's better than the original, but
Yeah. And dude,
uh,
I was so hyped today. Like I have this cool Daredevil thrift store shirt. Check it out. Bam.
there it is.
Yes. I got the little Mezco right above me. I'm actually doing it for my room today. I didn't want to set up the downstairs to do the podcast for a screen shared episode. So what's cool about this too is that we both have Marvel Unlimited, and we're gonna just like screen share and see if this works. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
not. That's like the same thing as flipping through. So
Hey,
I mean, it's Marvel. We don't. We don't own rights or whatever we gotta
Yeah,
say.
you own your characters, Marvel and Disney. Have them.
But why don't you? If you don't have Marvel Unlimited, I'm sure there's like a Phasma Seal edition for like $1 that'll come out every so while. Keep your eyes out
Yeah.
for that. I bet this is probably like one of those issues you could read for free on like any comic book
I
reader
Not even
thing in
that.
the
I
world.
feel like you can like literally just Google. I mean, I'm not saying I don't know if you can, but issues as old as these, there's people that just put them everywhere on the internet.
Yeah, like it's a classic old issue. I mean, what year did 1964? I want to say.
Yeah. I let's see. The first one was April 1964. We're actually yeah.
Damn, Daredevil is an April creation, so is Carnage, and guess what? So am I.
Yeah, there
So
you
that's
go.
fucking sick. Okay, there you go. Man, April's dope. That's cool. A lot of cool characters came out in April, just saying. Well, why don't we start this up? But before we start this up, why don't you get your cup of coffee that you probably got from coffeeinacomic.com, where you set up a pull list, probably got all the variant covers you want, and got your comics bagged and boarded in the mail with coffee pouches. The coffee I got this last week was dope. This was like a new flavor. I hadn't seen it before, and it was just like so beautiful. And that's the cool thing. You get a variety of coffee with like your order.
Does
Like
he
why?
does he send you like different types of roasts every time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, I order so often that I get the same roast like for a good chunk of a while. But like, yes, essentially,
I mean,
you should be getting like a different roast every few orders.
oh hell yeah. I mean, I personally can't go under medium. It's like dark roast all the way for me every time.
Really,
Yeah,
I don't drink a lot of caffeine in general. But when I do, it's from coffeeinacomic.com.
as I literally chug this energy drink.
And check out the discount code below on all of your orders. Save on some shipping, So that's even more worth it. You're getting bagged and boarded books in a world where bags and boards are hard to find, supply to you. All you're paying is shipping with a 10% discount code down below. So we're going to start up Daredevil #1. And holy crap, dude. This is like this reminds me like if Donald Draper like made a comic book. It's just advertising across
It's
the
just
entire thing.
yeah,
Here
it's
comes
like
Daredevil.
it's like advertising that they like almost like it felt like Stan Lee was told to advertise in his own book, like by
Yeah.
himself.
Dude, I bet that's why like they have like it's the Robin syndrome, the yellow, you know what I mean? It's popping out at you. And then you're
Mhm.
just like, yo, check out this cool creation Spider-Man that you all like. Well, this ain't it, but this is kind of in the same universe.
You see
So
this Spider-Man picture that takes up like an eighth of the page? Well, he ain't in the
and,
story.
and these other dudes, the Fantastic Four, you like them,
Yeah.
right? Well, check out this guy next. Yeah, you don't like it. Yeah.
Well,
Um,
not just that. Like, there's so many words to describe this book. Here comes Daredevil, the man without fear. And then
remember
like,
when we introduced Spider-Man? Now we continue the mighty Marvel tradition with Daredevil. Daredevil twice in two different colors.
not
Like
not just
with
that. Like, can you guess why Daredevil is different from other crime
three
fighters? It's
times.
3 times they've used his name. Not like, and they just like give it away like Matt Murdock right here. At least like in the first issue of Batman, you didn't know it was Bruce Wayne until the end.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. Yo,
I'm
secret
just saying, like,
identities. We'll give you the scoop.
yeah,
Everything.
keep in mind, Daredevil is literally my favorite Marvel character of all time.
Yes. So we are big Daredevil fans. And see, when we met, I was like a very moderate. I appreciated Daredevil. Like I grew up adoring Daredevil. I have this cool, and I'm gonna find it, but all my comics are in my roommate's room right now, and I gotta arrange some boxes, you know what I mean, and find it.
Yeah.
But I have like this issue I had from when I was a kid, and it was a Daredevil origin story issue, and we'll definitely try to cover it, especially if it's on Marvel Unlimited. But it went through the costumes of Daredevil. It went from the yellow suit to the red, or maybe it started off red and then he does go back to the yellow at some point, but then he gets the armored suit and then he goes into the black suit, and I was just like the coolest Daredevil origin story ever. But I never really had a chance to get my hands on Daredevil comics, and then I got the Frank Miller omnibuses. I read through those probably what in 20, I think during COVID I just tore through all of them because you
I
were
think
super
so
happy with me.
because when
We were
met,
friends.
yeah, and I know at that point I definitely had read a lot more Daredevil than you.
Yeah, fuck yeah, you way ahead of me. Way ahead of me. You've always been advanced Daredevil. I've been like leading up to that. But I've done all of the Frank Miller stuff, and then I got super lucky because I heard so much good stuff about the Zdarsky run, and I was just like, well, I guess I'll start collecting these cool hardcovers that come out, 12 months after each issue. And luckily I found the whole run. Like somebody, my guy TZ Toys, he was selling the entire run. In fact, check out that Instagram page and you'll find some dope comics that he's been getting a hold of, Bronze and Silver Age shit. But yeah, I bought the whole run from him, and then I read all of the Zdarsky stuff. And dude, that's just like what Zdarsky did for like Daredevil is what Snyder did for Batman back in the New 52. I feel like they just took the character, modernized the hell out of it, and made it amazing and made it great. And you're just like stunned at how far it's come. And we're only like 30 issues in.
I'm gonna say 2 hot takes with that said.
Okay.
He did it better than Snyder because Snyder Batman's good. Don't get me wrong.
It is.
It's good.
Yeah.
I love it. But that comparison, Zdarsky did much better. And 2, that is the second best Daredevil run next to Miller.
Oh, yeah.
What I said.
No, I agree, dude.
Yeah.
100% agree. Like, what's cool about the Miller run is that he laid the foundation for Daredevil. Like he set up
the character.
He
literally
just like he did with
character.
Batman. You know what I mean? And then these guys kind of do. I bet you anything Zdarsky's gonna fucking do the same thing with Batman because he's taking over Batman on issue 125, and I'm so excited for it. I'm so excited.
I've never in my life my 2 favorite superheroes. Literally, my Daredevil's my favorite because I never like to compare them and like one more than the other. But for Marvel, Daredevil is literally my all-time favorite, and we all know Batman is my all-time favorite for DC. The fact that the same writer is doing both at the same time is a blessing in disguise for me that I never saw coming from Zdarsky.
I've never been more excited for like a Batman month, except for no, I wasn't even buying comics at the time. I haven't been this hyped since I was reading Grant Morrison Batman, and it hasn't even come out yet. But anyways, we're sidetracking like crazy. We're at Daredevil. We're hyped for Daredevil. I've never read this first issue either.
Neither had I.
That's why we kind of did this. We've read a fuck ton of Daredevil. We love it. The show, we could talk about all of it, the show and everything. And remember that when he was in the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon, how cool it was as a kid to see him. Yes, and then when you see him in the Spider-Man video game. That was like on PlayStation.
Yes, and he's playing poker, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I was like, okay, so I know he could like notice things around him, but how does he see unless the ink imprint? I don't know, but
I don't know. That's stupid.
I was like, sure.
The cards might be Daredevil's 1 week just.
And then he's like, "I know when you're bluffing." I was like, "Oh, continuity."
Yeah,
they got his powers.
Yeah. Well, let's dig into this. We've already talked about the cover. The origin of fuck, dude. How
remember this cover?
We know it's Daredevil. Like, remember this cover? They're still advertising Spider-Man.
Well, like the internet didn't exist at the time, right? So it's one of those things that, like, people know this, but for the people that don't, back in the olden days before the internet, people just didn't have Google to look up superhero origin stuff or anything superhero related. So the writers had to treat every issue like everyone's first issue.
Yeah, that was Stan Lee's motto: is that any comic could be anyone's first issue. But dear God, we know it's Daredevil. Like, we know it's
dear God, we know it's Daredevil.
We know we're holding a Daredevil comic by this point. what was I gonna say? I don't even remember. I had a cool story. I don't even remember. It'll come back to me maybe.
It'll get back
But
to
man, honestly, no lie, I am a fan of the yellow suit. I am.
I like the yellow suit too, but
I
I don't
want to
know.
see
I
that
think
on the show. That's what I want to see them bring the show back
like
with, the
with the
yellow
cloth.
suit. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the whole cloth discussion.
Yeah, I know,
The
right?
cloth
Because
versus armor
everybody
discussion.
already knows my Batman take, but like
Yeah, go check out our
no,
Batman animated series commentary where we talk about that.
I like all the Daredevils. Even the weird armored one from the '90s is
Yeah.
oddly really
Fuck
cool.
yeah, dude.
I really like the
Yes.
one from the Charles Soule run, the like black and red one.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too. I have one of
Yeah,
those first issues
I
of.
mean,
Yeah, yeah. And that kind of came out of the Shadowland stuff, right? Am I wrong? I've never read Shadowland or whatever.
Shadowland. Okay, so Shadowland is like a cool idea as fuck. Like the idea of the demon from the hand taking over Daredevil.
That's so creepy for those who are just watching. My closet door just opened. That was my cat. That was my
Right.
cat coming out of my closet.
Uh,
All right. Anyways, go on.
but speaking of so Shadowland, I read it a long time ago. I bought it on like iTunes Books or something back when I had like a iPod Touch. Anyways, so I read it and I was like, okay, well, the demon took over Daredevil. This is a cool idea. I didn't have any idea of what it was about. It was written by Andy Diggle, the guy that created The Losers. On,
Oh wow, that's cool. He did a lot of
uh,
comes actually. Yeah,
yeah, he did a lot of comics. He did a really good Green Arrow book.
he did
But
some
anyways,
Swamp Thing too. Yeah, go on.
yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
He's famous for The Losers, which was like a really good movie no one talked about. It's
we'll talk about it.
yeah.
Is that the one with like everyone that's in the MCU now? Like was
Basically, yeah.
uh,
It's got like Jeffrey Dean Morgan and all that, and it's that Vertigo
oh.
book. But
I
anyways,
see.
the demon takes over Daredevil, and he's like controlling, the hand and all that, and he gets like those crazy horns, that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
see
yeah,
in
yeah.
Marvel versus Capcom 3. They reference it of all places, where Daredevil's sitting in the back, like on the throne, and like it was, eh. It looked cool. The
I
costume
never.
looked cool, but
Damn, that sucks. I always hear about it, but it's one of those.
it's
It's one of those
you
you
read
probably just
it.
read it because you're a fan and everything.
Yeah, I read it not knowing better, and the concept is amazing, but the execution. Nothing against Andy Diggle or anybody who worked on the book. It's just,
But just one of
anyways.
those things. So this is an interesting way to start an origin story with the poker game. Speaking of which, god damn it. But Fogwell's gym, that's
Mhm.
cool. Like I don't know, it just reminds me of Foggy, since my cat's gonna destroy everything right now. We'll find out how this works.
Got to get the cat cam going now that you're gonna do video.
Oh man, here we go. Let's see if he could go to the window. Come on, T'Challa. For those listening, just look at my video and you'll see a cute cat. Dude, move! Get the fuck out of the way.
Anytime you hear Brandon yelling T'Challa, that's literally at the cat.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This was a cool like little introduction. I'm glad that we didn't start off with like the origin. I'm glad it starts off with a bang. What a cool first page. Good job, Stan Lee.
Dude,
We have
for
this
real.
sketchy looking. There's a black cat crossing. It looks all just wimpy and hungry and everything, and these beat up posters and the street full of dirt and trash. And then you have these like slimy mobsters playing poker because that's what they do under one light. Why the fuck? Where do you get these lighting situations from?
I
I've
don't.
never
Yeah,
been in a
it's-
room like this. Like,
where you're sitting at the poker table, there's a single light bulb just right
yes.
there. Like, all right, guys,
I've
we're
never
gonna play
sat at a
poker
table.
in the worst lighting possible.
Just
like-
hiding in a base. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but go on.
No, I was gonna say I love early Silver Age superhero shit because we all. So if you read a lot of Daredevil, the way he makes an entrance. He shuts the lights off. The eyes glow red in the dark. Nobody notices him, and he comes in with a bang. That's a cookie cutter Daredevil. Intro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But like, hi citizens, it is me. Like, shows
I
up with a
intend to do
Superman
just
pose
that.
and everything. He's like,
When-
I'm through with the fixer. He'll never be able to use anyone ever again.
Hey,
It's
that
just
guy's
like-
looking for trouble.
Yeah.
Fix him like that. Fuck.
It's like, sure, like I guess this is how it works. Like,
Yeah.
you just announce yourself when you walk into a room that with everybody that's trying to kill you.
What is cool, and I mean, this is great. This is a great setup for a character because by page 3, dude, we already know that he's really acrobatic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What a way to demonstrate that visually by the first panel of action. Like, you just know he's acrobatic. And then the sways of motion on panel 3, you're just like, fuck, like how cool.
Not
I just
just
love how
that.
like that's good visual storytelling right there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've always said if you want to tell a good Daredevil story visually, again, I'm just gonna not shut up this episode because it's literally my favorite superhero, as I already said like 5 times. But like, you got to really do motion really well. That's the thing with
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil. You
Yeah.
have to,
That
and like,
fluidity behind it. You have to
yeah,
know like a ballerina, like if you're drawing that type of character
yeah,
on a
exactly. And
page.
like,
Yeah.
if you look on this page by the third panel when he's swinging a guy around, if you realize those like motion waves are flying into the fourth panel.
Oh shit, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
So it's one
catch.
of those things that like you know the way they kind of simulate this like idea of motion and passage of time where like he's spinning. First of all, it's kind of funny because he's like spinning the guy around by his ankles in a circle. But like it's
Yeah.
really cool how they guide you into like the action where the guy is getting thrown into the other group of people.
Yeah.
And as we all know, the gutter is kind of like where time passes and like the in between of panels, and they kind of connect the two. Like you see the
Yeah.
motion lines like overlap the panels, which is really cool for the 1960s because this is
Yeah.
stuff that isn't something that wasn't like people were studying. This is just stuff they thought looked cool. Like even the word bubble
They figured
travels
this
through
out.
the
This
gutter.
is like pioneer shit, like with comic
Yeah.
books, and that's the cool part. Yeah,
As
exactly.
campy and goofy it is and how much we're gonna talk shit and make fun of it, it's really cool stuff that
Mm-hmm.
like people were doing in comics that like nobody had any terminology for or had
Even
any
when he
idea was
throws
going
his like
on.
little billy club thing, like you see the spiral because he's like spinning it, and the
Yeah.
fact that it's just like and going forward at the same time, that's just cool. It's great stuff. It's super cool stuff.
Yeah, the panel
Uh,
breaking though is just like it's awesome. It guides you without you realizing it. It's stuff that again they were doing just because they thought it looked cool when they were like practicing really strong like storytelling tools.
man, fucking every panel on this page, on page 4, does this. Like, dude, two motions right there, Daredevil and the guy, and then the next one is the chair, Daredevil and the guy, and then I think panel 3, like they're all kind of prepped up. But that's like the most still panel, and then panel 4, you're getting
Yeah,
movement where he kicks
kicks
every
them
single,
all
tuk, tuk, tuk. And then even on panel 5, he's swinging down again and kicking him in the ass, literally kicking him in the
in
ass,
the ass,
and then he
cheeks up
tackles
in the
home
air.
slice. It's
Dude,
one of those cool things. Like,
he broke that man's spine in the last panel right there.
yeah, but dude, that's a back injury. You're in the hospital bed for weeks after
uh,
that.
the dialogue is kind of campy. I mean, kind of. It really is. You fellas sure have a funny way of making a stranger feel at home. Like it's super corny. But say what you will, every dope as fuck Daredevil scene in like a TV show or movie follows this formula. Like if this was in a movie, this scene would be sick as fuck as an intro. And they kind of did that in the Ben Affleck movie. All jokes aside, like there's that scene in the bar. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
same exact setup.
Is that in the
Like
beginning?
yeah, isn't it? Where
Is it?
he's like in the bar where they're playing pool and like the lights shut off and everything and
Oh, dude, you're right. I think so. It's funny.
yeah,
I just
it's
watched that movie like 2 weeks ago to prep for the commentary.
yeah,
I don't even remember because the
dude,
beginning
like
was so long ago at that point. The
uh
movie's 2.5 hours, by the
it
way.
really is hella long. But like a good Daredevil story always opens with that action scene where he's kicking everybody's ass and they don't
Oh
see him
well,
coming.
the TV show, perfect example. It's the Saving the Girls, and it just sets the tone for everything because you're just like, man, these girls are being sold off into like whatever one of those shipping containers, and then he fucking throws his club, and boop boop boop, and then he starts
Yeah.
kicking ass where it's brutal, where it goes into bringing the devil out, kicking his ass, and you're like, oh, we're in for a ride. This is an unhinged Daredevil in a sense. Yeah, yeah. The fight scene in the beginning, perfect example to start a Daredevil story.
And
100% agree.
this first issue pioneered that. Like you didn't see that at least to my knowledge, at least in the Marvel comics that I've seen in the 1960s. You don't really see the intro like that.
Well, Fantastic Four #1, it doesn't start right away like that. It gets everybody called together. They all rendezvous. They're all being called
Yeah.
out of like their houses and everything. And that, I mean, this is what the third Marvel creation. And this came out at the same time as X-Men too. The X-Men and Daredevil were the new books coming out at the time, and all we had was like FF and Spider-Man pretty much. So I don't even Spider-Man. I don't remember how that one started, but I don't think that was a fight scene right away. Amazing Fantasy 15, or even Spider-Man #1.
I remember reading Spider-Man #1. I don't remember much. We'll probably
I
cover
don't
it
know.
one
We'll
day.
cover it, yeah, because I don't
Yeah.
remember that one at all. But like FF #1, it starts with the cloud, like smoke, fucking smoke alarm that Reed Richards puts out to call the Fantastic Four, and they all come out of like whatever they're doing. It's goofy as hell.
Yeah. It's
Um,
a family thing.
yeah, it's adorable. But you're right. Yeah, you're right. Like just starting off with a fight, beautiful stuff, and then we go
Yeah.
into deep exposition.
You can call me
Um,
Daredevil. It's this dialogue, dude.
he only had one D on his chest too, huh?
Yeah, I think he did. Let me see real quick. I'm looking at it on
Let
my
me
screen.
find. Yeah, just one D.
Yeah, he
one D.
did.
That's cool. I wonder when the second D came into place.
Probably with the red suit, with the redesign.
Yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
But this is the
yeah.
standard Daredevil kind of origin, because his dad is just like, you gotta hit the books, son. You gotta hit the books. I don't want you to be like me.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be a scumbag. No,
The
I
year
promise
is
your mother.
1950.
I know, yeah, exactly. But dude, again, Daredevil, a brand new name in the world of superheroes. But one is okay, and then blah blah blah. Back
And
to
then
the
for
origin of a man
Daredevil.
called Daredevil. You're like, all right, Stan,
Yeah.
we fucking get it. We're reading a Daredevil comic. We should have counted how many times he just said his name on the panel above it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like the thing was like Stan Lee wasn't like he just kind of told stories. I don't think he was really like a storyteller, like in the sense where he was like an established author. They just kind of threw him on the books, you know?
I think he was. I mean, again, it was just like one of those things. Comics were being shaped, and then you go
Yeah.
from just understanding prose and thinking that he was going to write the great American novel at some point. So prose is that density is in his head. That every little bit of detail is what comes out through his writing, and just trying to get the bang for your buck to make it worth it. Like look at all these words that we fit on the page to make this book worth it at that point.
Yeah.
I think that was
All
a big
12
aspect
cents
of it.
worth it.
Yeah, exactly. I think they just try to just fill you with information to make it. Now comics are so big, you could have our comics were getting better over the years, quality wise, art wise, and that's where they could do shorter, simpler stories. I like a short comic. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna
I
lie.
do too.
I
When
love
you
it.
read like 15 a week, yeah, you
Yeah,
like a short comic.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I dig that. But like the lengthy ones, I always try to put time aside to enjoy them a bit more. But back in the day, they just needed to stuff it to like we need this just to do well so people find like value out of it at that point. And I mean, they're defending comics at this time too. So I can imagine like if you had I mean, this is very simplified. I was gonna say if you have a very simplified comic, which it fucking is, but like if it was just like bare bones in that sense, I don't think they would have done as well because people would have dismissed them even more, being like it's barely even reading, it's barely even like any sort of literature. And I have that. What's that book? 10 cent ban or what something, but it's about like the backlash. What is it? The 10 cent plague. Oh, I gotta fucking read that soon, and maybe it talks about stuff like that. Because it talks about the whole golden silver age and basically like why books were kind of just banished at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, look at this page. Dear God, this is a Scott
Dude,
Snyder comic.
This I know, right? This is a modern Scott Snyder comic. That dude's gonna hear us talk about him, just be like, "Why'd you guys read my stuff?"
Because it's good. I'm sorry, Scott.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good shit.
Yeah, no, like the other thing too. Again, it's just like there was so much over explaining, and it's just like this is only 24 pages. At least on Marvel Unlimited, it's 24 pages. 24 comic book pages, and this shit is so like exhausting. Like,
dude, what's crazy is that like we really don't learn our lessons till the 80s. This is the 60s, but even in the 80s it was still kind of rough. And then when you get to like the 90s, dude, Spawn like 1 through 6 is terrible. There's a reason why he brought on Alan Moore, Frank Miller, and Neil Gaiman to write some issues, because Todd's exposition was literally Spawn walks down the street while Spawn's walking down the street, just like what it's I don't know. But this first page, page 6, we'll start blasting through it in a minute. But this fucked me up because he's training to get tougher did he? I don't recall origins that I've read or seen where he's like beefing up before he's blind. I always felt like he was blind.
Yeah, no, he was, the origin was always that he was blind, and then Stick found him and started training him.
Yeah, exactly.
At least for Frank Miller, right?
And so, like he was like just doing boxing, and he wasn't doing like acrobatic stuff as a kid, was he? Well,
No,
I
not to
guess
my knowledge.
in the movie he was. You're gonna see that shit. It's
Oh
funny as
yeah,
hell.
when he's on the edge of the building.
Dude,
Like,
he's just like a little kid flipping through stuff. Like, and you're like,
yeah,
what?
it's like okay, sure. Yeah. Can't
But
wait
in
to
the
watch that
movie, they
movie.
say he has like not only super senses, but like a little bit
Well,
of super ability
it's
of some
like
sort.
because of like the sense of touch, he has like physical ability. Can you go back a page real quick?
Yeah.
Can we talk about how it says right there, no one can be as cruel as the unthinking youth? And that motherfucker that's like, whoa, if it ain't old Daredevil, literally looks 65. Like,
Dude,
like
he
is no
looks
one gonna.
like the Punisher commentary where they fought that wrestler, the Russian.
Oh,
That looks like the Russian's child or some shit.
oh my god. He's like, well, if it ain't old Daredevil. He's like, you're a kid? Yep.
Yes. Oh man, dude, he's like already looking some muscle definition over here.
Yeah,
If I do say
he's
so
got some
myself.
pretty toned arms for a
Yeah,
young, like, what
for
the
just
fuck,
like
dude?
working
Like,
out for a week and whatnot. Like,
yeah, I was like, how much is this? And then, like, he continues to work out like crazy, and they just like list out a gym basically.
you know what's funny as hell is that like, look, he's big. He's like Bruce Wayne big in panel two. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I was
Like
like,
that kid is buffer than either one of us at this point.
yeah, I
Like
was
we
like,
work
damn,
out.
Matt, like, I was like, why they make this 12-year-old or however old is fucking ripped? Like, this
Well,
dude's working
dude,
out like crazy.
and then his dad's like, what was it? How are things at school while I was away, Matt? Every everything all right,
Everything all right,
son?
son?
Just the worst dialogue ever. But he's just like, guess so, Dad. If you call straight A's, all right. And Dad's just like giving a creepy stare, but Dad doesn't realize that he's been beefing up.
Yeah, like, what
Like
kind
you
of father
think the
is this guy? He
dad's
doesn't realize his son's getting ripped.
look how he was a scrawny little kid like 2 pages ago, and now he's fucking dude. Look, he's those are shoulder presses he's doing right there. That's tough. Like, that's a lot of weight, man. But yeah, and then the dad succumbs to. It's kind of lame. Like I felt like in the every other incarnation. Of course, it's evolved. You know what I mean? It's super evolved. You know
Yeah.
that's the point. Retelling and making these characters better. That's why they've lasted because they strayed away from this bullshit. But it's a great foundation. But like his reasoning for like going to the fixer is kind of weak. Like you're not really
Yeah.
sold.
It's the thing with this origin story, like with Matt's dad and everything. I always thought Daredevil, again, just me being infatuated with like the superhero, is that like he doesn't have an origin like nobody else has an origin like him. Like there's so many things about it that make it stand out and unique, even with like sorry to say, with how like subpar the writing is. Like, there's so many layers to it. The dad being a boxer, them being Catholics, and like
The mom not
how
in the
his dad,
picture.
huh?
The mom not in the picture at
Yeah,
that
and then
point
like the
too.
mom, spoiler, the mom being like a nun.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah.
like
It turns out to be a nun. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like there's so many things they created for this origin story that just like is so good for a like
Well,
when
and
written the right
it
way.
it's pushing like he was academically smart. Like he pushed himself in school, and then he decided to push himself physically. So he's like doing all this, and he's a good Samaritan. Like Matt Murdock's just a good boy. You know what I mean? He's just a good guy to look up to. And I mean, he has this disastrous thing happen to him, and when you look at Spider-Man, he got bit by a fucking radioactive spider. Like it just happened to him. But like you don't, and Spidey's a wimp. You know what I mean? He's just like he's a wimp. Peter Parker's a fucking wimp. And Bruce Banner, like Banner is kind of a douche. But we'll read his origins. We'll read that number one next, probably.
I haven't read that one
I
actually.
haven't either. I was just thinking. I've just done Immortal Hulk stuff. That's all I know, really. But Bruce Wayne, like little bitch. Uh, Clark Kent is like the dude. Daredevil is the closest thing we get to Clark Kent, and personality wise, Matt Murdock and Clark are like almost equal valued at that point. Daredevil's just a
Well,
bit darker on the edge,
yeah, they're just trying to do
like
right by.
morals. Yeah,
Yeah, not to say other superheroes don't, but
I feel like those are like I don't know off the top of my head the closest thing. Plus the red, that's what it is. He's our
yeah.
Clark Kent. Um,
Yeah, let's talk about the drip his dad's got with that suit, though.
Dude,
Like,
I was just looking at that panel and I was gonna comment on it. Man, look at that swagger step, dude.
dude,
That's a
you think like when Bill Everett was drawing this,
that
he's like,
is
yeah, this dude's gonna be
big
so
pimping over
sick.
here. Like he got paid just now.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
man, nobody's hair is that fucking red. Nobody's.
Naturally, yeah.
That's with the like the grease back, the Rebel Without a
Um,
Cause, like hair going
I know,
backwards.
right? He's got some pomade going.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how like a lot of comic books, the way they like write like thugs and bad guys, they go, Sure, I'll get you some fights," you know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's always that New
yeah,
York gangster.
you just got to take
Um,
a dive, Murdoch, and then straight to the origin. Fuck it, like for
man,
the
yeah.
powers.
They just he was so optimistic after losing his sight too. They don't even show anything. There's no evidence. He kind of gets smacked and then he's on the ground and then he's in the
Well,
hospital.
this was
Like
during the
there's
comics code, so they couldn't show anything really, right? They're
no
like,
acid or anything, huh?
yeah, like but they have to explain it. But a cylinder fell from the truck. It struck his face. Is it something radioactive? Don't just stand there. Someone call an ambulance.
Why the
Like,
fuck are they all so close if it's radioactive too?
I
Like
know,
why
right?
are they
Oh
getting
god,
close?
this radioactive waste is leaking everywhere, guys. We better
Is this shit
stand near it.
radioactive? Are we around?
Yeah, I
Check
know,
it
right?
out.
But
Someone
like,
taste it.
you like how the truck says Ajax Atomic Labs, radioactive materials, danger.
What are they doing on like a residential like
Yeah,
street
like
in New
let's
York?
casually drive through New York during primetime business hours. Like, I don't know.
Dude,
It's just,
yeah, he's like clearly walking home from school or something. Like there's no Yeah, cuz dude, check it out, check it out. The page before as fate would have it, Matthew Murdoch. Oh wait, excited the joyful prize fighter rushes to the apartment only to find Matt. Wait till I tell you the news. Matt, he's not here. As fate would have it, Matthew Murdoch, at that very moment, is returning from the library, taking the most important few steps of his entire life.
entire life.
So he was fucking coming from the library. Like it's
Yeah,
not.
dude.
Yeah. All right. Oop, I hit my mic.
But you're right. He's way too optimistic. Like, I'm just saying. Like,
His dad is like crying. He's upset.
yeah,
like
your dad.
freaking
He's
out.
like, your son is very brave, lad, Mr. Murdoch. Your son's a very brave lad, Mr. Murdoch. You must try to be equally as brave in the days ahead. And he's like, don't be sad, Dad. It's okay. I'm alive. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like if you're like a 10-year-old kid who just lost your vision from like a fatal accident, pretty
Yeah.
traumatizing.
I'd be
Maybe
pretty
that's just
fucking
me.
sad. I would be so sad. Like, dear God. Yeah, it's. I don't even in panel number 2. He's just chilling, blind kid. I mean, kudos to him. That's how you take it. That's how you take it, Matt. Stay optimistic. Like,
He's like, don't worry. I'm still keeping up my studies using books written in Braille. Well, I mean,
yeah, what the fuck, dude? Like you were blind like 2 days ago, and now you're like, I mastered Braille. I could do this. Like,
I didn't even think about that.
I go to like audiobooks before I went into Braille.
I
or
don't think
something.
audiobooks
Well,
existed at
like
the time.
no, like a tape recorded book,
Oh,
like
yeah.
radio
Was
serials.
that
Like
a
I'm
thing in
sure,
the 60s?
I'm sure they had stuff like that in the 60s.
Yeah, hold on.
Audio, yeah, like I mean, they had like the nursery rhyme vinyls and everything.
Oh my god, they did. Audiobook
yeah.
cassettes were in the 1960s.
Bam, son. I just watched
Whoa.
Mad Men like crazy like 3 months ago.
Well, I was gonna say the thing is, Stan Lee was scared to create this character because he wasn't sure if it would come off offensive. So they were trying to like
Oh yeah.
have a character with a disability to help raise like some sort of awareness with
And
people
it's
with
really
similar
fucking
disabilities.
deceiving, by the way, too. I'm sorry, but like I would kill to be blind like Daredevil and kick ass like this. Look at that shit. He's ripped right now with his
He's
sunglasses and a cane, just kicking
Dude,
ass in a gym. Like I
he
would
fucking
never be able
did.
to move like that.
He's doing front flips and everything.
Dude, my back hurts from today's workout. Like I'm done.
I was gonna say though, this page. So this page starts explaining his powers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this is where I feel like the words really, again, like in comic books, words and imagery are something that like go hand in hand together. They complement each other. And this is like an example of like too wordy of books just don't help. And like the artwork could have done so much more. Like it has the different panels to show the different like senses being enhanced, which is really like a great way to go about it.
That is some Scott McCloud shit right there.
Yeah.
That is some educational comic book.
But the thing is, it's just like there's so many words muddling. At least in the panels, if you notice, a lot of the caption boxes are almost the same size. They're the same color, like background, and they're consistently in the same area of each panel to create some sort of like, I want to say like consistency between the panels. So it goes this power, and then this power,
Yeah.
and then this power, and like if only they let the artwork shine, or if they figured out a way to make it work, you could have him listening to a heartbeat, or him,
Oh
the one
yeah,
with the sense of
yeah.
smell. You don't even have to do anything besides like
They have the
show
waif
that.
going on there. You already see the wafiness of the aroma.
Yeah, just like if you augment the artwork a little bit more, it could have told so much more with less.
Fucking Stanley. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, no,
Yes, yes.
100% agree. 100%. Perfect example. Panel 1 right here. Dude, he's walking with a stick. The bing, bing, bing,
Yeah, to
bing,
show
and
how
that's
sound bounces for the
on
sonar.
panel 2. Same thing right there. Um, yeah, honestly, everything that you just said, they just did on the next page when they should have like cut that back a bit. But again, again, this is foundations. This is early comic book writing. This is how it was.
Hmm.
But this is the type of stuff that this is why so many comic book creators came out in the 70s and 80s and 90s, is because they read this and they were like, I can do better than this, and they did.
Frank Miller was like, Daredevil, I got an idea.
Yeah, yeah. Oh fuck, we're gonna cover some of that soon. God, I love that shit. Um, dude, so the dad fight, uh, again, dramatized way better in later storytelling, but like you're really unsure why he kind of takes the hits.
Yeah.
Literally just a split second, like it's my one chance, maybe my last chance to do something, to make my son proud of me. I'm not gonna fail him. I'm gonna win. Do you hear me? I'm gonna win. And at that point, you're just like, dude, you have a good gig. Like, what's up, T'Challa? Just kind of recording a podcast here. Um, and I don't know, like in the show, I feel like that whole motivation and even the pause and the way, Matt finds his dad is so much more dramatic. Cause like, how does he even find his dad over here? He really doesn't.
He doesn't. He's
He
just like,
doesn't. Damn.
let's see. He heard the tragic news.
Yeah.
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 Let's I will say though, as sloppy or as wacky this origin story is, it's been consistent in every
Yeah.
iteration of Daredevil.
Yeah.
Like
They just
down to a
tweak
T
small
for the most
stuff.
part.
Yeah.
Or
I think
like,
the thing that threw us off the most is that he started training before he was blind.
yeah.
Other than that, it's pretty dead on, and they
I
just
mean,
embellished in
technically the
some part.
movie was actually no, the movie didn't even get it spot on because he trained after going blind. Um
And
but
it's,
yeah,
well,
no,
that's how I see everything else. I feel like he's always trained after being blind, and that's what
yeah.
motivated him.
So for the most
Um,
part though, it's been consistent, like the way the father dies, the way he got the powers, all that stuff. Like
yeah, yeah,
they've kept
yeah.
it consistent. And then
And now we're going to college days, which, you know what? This fucking page has two things that just annoy the hell out of me. First off, he's graduating in panel 5, right? He's just,
mhm.
oh yeah, I'm graduating. And the next day, we're in business, Matt. The
Yeah.
fuck starts
Hold
like,
on, hold on. You fast forwarded past one of the most ridiculous parts I thought was like crazy in this book, where he goes,
oh my gosh,
he's
yeah.
like, it literally says Matt Murdock has heard the tragic news, and Foggy's like, shape the fuck up. Your dad's dead. You got to graduate. Like,
Dude, straight up, you gotta snap out of it, Matt. Pull yourself together, fella. That's what
can
your
you
dad
imagine?
would have wanted. Yo, dude, I know your dad died, but you gotta
Can
you
you
gotta get over this
imagine?
shit.
Let's sit here and look at this real quick. Your best friend, your dad just died horribly. Like, he didn't die. He was murdered.
Murdered
Like,
on his
your
biggest
father
night
is
of his
murdered.
life.
Yeah, on the like biggest achievement he could ever have in his life. And your best friend's like, who gives a fuck, bro? You're about to graduate. Like,
We
snap
got
out of
shit
it.
to do. Foggy's just like, man, we're about to start a business. We have everything. I already did the lease. Like, we already have a down payment. Like, Matt, this is all I got. You fuck up now. We just started a business, Matt. Don't do it. I'm
But
broke.
as wordy as the comic is, now as wordy as it does get to the point with the origin story. Like
Yeah.
it's like, again, in understanding comics, they always talk about how like in between the panels, any passage of time could be like a second to like a million years, and as abrupt it is, you get the idea. Father
Yeah.
died, graduated, business, met Karen Page.
Which, hi, my name is Karen Page, Mr. Murdoch. I hope you'll be pleased with me. What the fuck, dude? Like,
Yeah,
kind
her
of
voice is like
dialogue.
music from the sound. She's 5. How do you know she's 5'4" by the way she talks? Like let's like
I baffled, believe me. Fucking cat, man. So annoying. Um, Let him out. So do this yellow suit, the prototype. How did
How he
he
made
do
it
that?
himself.
I never got how they would have Matt make the suit himself. That never
Yeah,
made
well,
sense
like
to
he
me.
could feel the suit, right? But like,
What kind of skills does Matt Murdock have? I can't sew for shit with
yeah, I know
sight.
he's a like. I'm trying to think. Like, yes, he has enhanced senses, but did he? Is it wrong to ask if he could actually sew?
I mean, it's like, man, he has super abilities at this point. If you could sew blind like that, he has beyond those.
Yeah,
That's like with his agility and everything. Like that's just a lot to take in. But I mean, if he would have found an outfit and been like, "This is a convenient size," like I would have bought that, like more than him sewing to. That is a very fine D. First off,
yeah.
like blind or not, good feeling senses or not. I mean, how would his outfit not be just like totally fucked though?
I
Like
don't
a
know.
pink
Like,
thing. How
you know,
convenient to
I've never
have
really
the.
questioned it. You just kind of go with it, you
Yeah,
know.
it's a again. This is comics, and we're overthinking it, but it's just funny as shit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like there's I mean, creating the rules of a universe, and this is why we, bash on things like this, is that certain things just totally make sense, and certain things don't. But when the things that don't make sense, it's probably because you're breaking the rules of that universe, and that's probably where we complain about it the most. You establish certain things at the very beginning of a book, at the very beginning of a story, and when you don't, when you kind of fuck up on those rules, it just doesn't become believable later on. Uh, Real quick, just to explain that point even further, um, Stephen King directed a TV show. I forget the name of the TV show, but one of the last episodes, not Stephen King, Steven Spielberg, directed the show. One of the last episodes of this show was about these like World War II pilots, and one of them wanted to be an artist. He was like he wanted to work for Disney or some shit. And it's these gunners in the military, and it's like a World War II story where they're gunning people down and everything, and their ship starts getting gunned down. And this dude, the gunner, is going to have to cover everybody because he has to stay inside to protect everybody. And like the reason why he didn't go with everybody is because the wheels wouldn't come out of the ship. And during his last moments, as he's gunning people down, he draws like a ship with wheels, and animated wheels come out of this fucking ship, and they land. Like, never has his drawing ever created something like that came
But it
to
just
life,
happened.
and it just happened. It's that whole what's the God, just the like saying? I feel fucking retarded, stupid for saying, not remembering it. The Deus Ex Machina. That's what it is. It's
Yeah,
literally a Deus Ex
it's the
Machina.
God in the Machine. Yeah, where
Yeah,
every Batman story ever.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's just like when you break that, that's like a really clear picture of what we mean by this. I mean, of course, this is a much smaller detail in that, but that's like a storytelling thing. I don't know what I just did. There we go. But I mean, I dig the yellow suit. Good color choice, Matt,
Yeah.
for being blind. Badass horns too.
Oh wait,
So what?
the zoom thing is still showing.
Oh, there we go. Swipe you over.
There we go.
So basically, this is now a revenge story.
Yeah,
Like,
like he went for blood, dude. Well, let's talk about how he's like practicing in his house doing front flips. Like, granted, that
yeah,
doesn't have to make
dude.
sense, but it's kind of funny. He's just like, I'm Daredevil now. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could have had him go outside, but you want to do it in your living room. I mean, that's
that
cool
that
too,
was the
man.
other thing that Frank did really well too, was giving, and just like Batman, we saw it in Mask of the Phantasm, where he didn't really have the bat suit yet, you know what I mean? And even his first incarnation didn't have the horns. He looked like Space Ghost for a minute. And
Yeah,
and him getting the Daredevil suit like right away with the horns and everything down, it's like he mastered that really well. Like I'd expect like of course, they had to give them their outfits. I mean, Spider Man had the suit right away. Fantastic Four had their
yeah.
outfits right away. But giving him that stepping stone into the suit makes more sense to me on his first fucking mission to avenge his like father at that point.
He says it's his first test. Now to change my clothes in an alley and see if I'm good as I think.
I mean, it's the same story as Spider Man. No wonder Stanley did this. It's literally the same. Home Slice got shot, Uncle Ben,
Yeah.
and then he puts on a fucking suit that he was wrestling in, and maybe I think he was wrestling in that comic. I'm pretty sure. fucking read that one too. I don't remember Amazing Fantasy.
Fantasy.
Amazing Fantasy 15. Um, but it's the same thing that happened. He hunted down the killer and accidentally like killed him. You know what I mean? But like that's what Daredevil's doing. It's the same origin story.
He wrote a lot of characters.
Yeah, for the record, Stan was doing a
Yeah.
lot already at the time. But this is just Daredevil kicking ass.
Yeah, no, I told you, a good Daredevil story always starts and ends with like him just kicking everybody's ass in like some like beat down house or something. Or like it's like really grimy and he just comes in and just starts taking names.
Right here, though. Okay, so Daredevil's kicking ass. We see that. He's fucking just beating on these dudes. We already know he has these heightened senses, hiding everything. This dude just walks up from behind him and pushes him out a window. This is breaking the rules
But
of
the best
the
part
universe.
is there's that pole right there and he just swings around with his cane casually.
Dude, yeah, they just did that for show. That's
Do
like
you
something
think,
you
like,
see in a bad movie.
Do you think like Stanley was like, yeah, this is good, and then like he's like he swings on a pole and kicks him.
But how do we get to show that? I
Yeah,
have
know,
this
right?
scene in my head. How do we fit that in there?
Come on, Everett.
Yeah, straight up. Like, but dude, look how much exposition it takes to explain that. A normal
Yeah,
man
I
with
know.
all his senses might be doomed in such a situation. But the moment the fearless Daredevil feels himself hurtling into space, his super keen ears catch the rustling of a flag as his lightning fast as his lightning fast reflexes go into action. Whew, that's him just falling out of a fucking window and catching the pole.
him
Literally,
falling out of
literally.
a window.
There's, you know what? I wanted to see something. There's a scene. Maybe we already passed it. I don't think we have yet. Okay, cool. But there's like a line coming up that is just the most ridiculous line ever. So
Are you talking
ridiculous.
about how horribly written Stan Lee was with Karen Page? Go back.
Okay, it's coming up. It's coming up. All right, cool. Yeah, let's go back.
Right here. He's like, Karen, today is your day off. I know, Mr. Nelson, but I'm a stranger in New York and I had no one to visit, so I thought I'd tidy up the office. Like,
go explore, girl. You just said you're a stranger in New York. Just go do some shit. Like, go.
yeah, like I was like, okay, so Brandon, do you like you're just like you write a character, it's just like, man, she's bored. I need her in this office. You could have just said like, hey, you're working, you know, like
Yeah, that's true too. What are you doing here, Foggy? Like, what are you doing here?
Or there's something about him that makes a girl want to take him in her arms. And oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Nelson. I had no right to speak that way. I'm like, what the hell? Like, they really wrote this in there?
They're just throwing Karen at him so much, and it's such a crammed, random scene at this point too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they do that a lot. They do a lot of weird transitions because I meant to bring it up at the beginning of the issue, but where they'll just take up like the last part of a page and start a new scene. You don't see that too often anymore. You probably see a scene
No, a page
like a
turner.
page turner, you know what I mean? And then, or it'll transition better that way. But like starting a second scene in the middle of one, like just cutting one, dude, those panels are so small in the middle row that could have just finished that page. And then
Oh, yeah.
this would have been on the next page. But comics, you know, they evolve.
Yeah.
Freaking pulls a rug out from under him, dude. Oh, and then this whole part where Daredevil busts everybody, and he's just like, getting
Or you
them
mean
to
how he
admit,
casually just, he chases them down?
yeah,
And then,
and he has
doesn't he like
the
tell the
tape
police,
recorder.
like, yeah, he doesn't even have a tape recorder.
Yeah, it does. I have a miniature tape recorder concealed in my billy club. I'll
No,
tell
he
the
says for
police-
my final bluff.
Oh, okay.
Don't believe
Oh,
anything.
yeah. There you go.
But then
I
he gets
didn't-
literally the carpet pulled straight from under him, which is like ridiculous looking when you think about it.
again. His super reflexes don't detect like I don't know. It's one of those.
Bad
I love how
things.
he changes out of costume. Like
To
where the
chase them
fuck,
down.
where did
Dude,
that
this
suit
guy-
come from?
He had
Where-
so much time to put a whole suit on and tie his tie.
Where did the fuck did that suit come from? Where are they? Does Matt Murdock have suits stashed around New York, like to just
Casually just
get in-
waiting for him to pick up.
yes, his little stash houses. But he follows these guys. They're in the subway and everything, and this is a pretty cool scene putting Daredevil in the subway. I gotta admit, that's pretty sweet.
Well, do you think the movie got that from this issue?
Oh, a lot of it. Honestly, a lot of this issue is in the movie. Not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
true.
Yeah. But this part, he got hit in the fucking knee. look how much he says in that one moment. Oh, blast it. He tripped me with that infernal stick of his. Dude, the minute I get hit in the knee, I'm just like, oh, fuck. And then I'm on the floor. I can't even say, oh, fuck. Like, I'm on the
I know,
floor
right?
when I'm saying, oh.
Well,
And
and then he chases the guy down with the trash can barrel, like rolling on it.
why
Sure.
when did Daredevil join the circus and learn all
Yeah,
this
like
shit?
just run.
Where does he
You're obviously
train?
athletic.
Where did he train to do that?
And then he jumps into the subway.
Yeah, that's pretty intense too, actually.
Or he jumps off the subway, something like that. But
Man,
and then
it
yeah,
just
like
goes
he
back
just
to the office.
well,
Where
like he like
looks
tells the cops like arrest this man. And they're like, okay.
yeah, straight up. So, sure, cool, got it.
Yeah, okay.
What did he do?
And then he just dips. He's like, I'm Daredevil.
Dude,
and
you know who he looks
you'll
like in
be-
these panels as Matt Murdock? The I'm never gonna give you up. Never
Rick
gonna...
Astley?
Yeah.
Oh my god, he does.
Well, don't waste a minute. We can't wait to hear what you think of Daredevil. Send your letters to Daredevil, and that's pretty great. Good stuff,
Stan
Stan.
Lee, third floor. Look at that last panel though, how sick that is. Honestly, I don't remember anything back then doing something like that with the shadow being the Daredevil outfit.
You know what? Agreed. That is probably one of the coolest panels in this entire issue.
Oh yeah.
Well, that was Daredevil #1.
Yeah.
How dope. How dope.
Something so what did I text you? I was like, somehow this made me question everything about Daredevil.
Yeah, straight up.
And it's 24-page run.
I loved it. Absolutely
It's
loved
wacky.
it.
It's definitely dated and wacky, but it's like also like it creates such a good foundation for a superhero.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know, like I don't know. Again, being a huge fan, it's one of those things like I think it's awesome, but at the same time, there's a lot of bad things about it, like the dated writing and just like the weird transitions and panels and just like some of the outfits just look really wacky for 1960s. Like maybe that's how people dressed in the 60s. I don't know. But like,
Yeah, I
there's a
can
lot
see
of
some of that.
things-
I can see some of that.
Yeah, but again, it creates such a unique origin story that's such a good foundation for a character that can be retold over and over again.
Exactly. And that's where Stan was brilliant. You know what I mean? Like we make fun of it like crazy, but the stuff that he made that shaped like these amazing characters that we love now, I mean, that he put all the groundwork there and they just took off from it because it was solid groundwork. Because remember, Daredevil was a character in the 40s and 50s. In some golden age comics, in fact, I wrote it down really fast. Silver Street Comics #6. It was a backup strip, popularized by Jack Cole, who put him up against the star of another feature, The Claw, and and finally turned into a surrogate father figure to a kid gang called the Little Wise Guys under the watch. So yeah, there was some goofy stuff going on with Daredevil pre this. And it's cool how this is like the end result because Stan took that character, reinvented it, and now how creators nowadays take these characters and reinvent them.
It was like influence. It wasn't like the same character created, right?
Right. It
That
was
Daredevil?
influenced. Yeah, totally different,
Yeah.
100%. This Stan was very original with all of that in that sense. But I loved it. It was a good hype. I said this was gonna be a 30-minute episode. It turned out to be an hour because
I know we were just like geeking out and trashing it. And
But check out our Daredevil commentary. Check out our Batman the Anime Series commentary. We have some more comics coming your way. Probably some more single issues. This was fun. This video doesn't get flagged. We're gonna do this like fucking crazy because it's 10
yeah, I
times
know
easier.
this is great. I had a blast.
Yeah, hell yeah. So yeah, thanks for hanging, man.
Thanks for having me.